Hi, welcome to this webinar. So this webinar, may notice that the background is slightly different this week. Maybe the audio and the video is not quite of the standard that we usually have. And this is because many of us are actually out traveling this week. So this is a non-recorded version coming from a hotel room in the USA. With that said, let me go forward and say that we're going to talk about FoodSense Generation 4. FoodSense Generation 4 is a multi-analyte system able to test ingredients and foods in the food industry. Now, as part of FoodSense Generation 4, I realize I do have one with me here, but it's a small unit that fits in the palm of your hand. With it, we do give online training, so anyone who's a new client can have online training with us. We have a calendar booking system, and you can book time to receive a online demo with our engineers. We also do weekly webinars. So this is a weekly webinar, so when people are asking kind of questions, last week I maybe discussed mayonnaise. This week I'm going to discuss breaded spicy chicken. And we also do monthly webinars where we actually do a more in-depth demonstration and discussion of the science. With that said, this week we are testing spicy breaded chicken. No, not testing, actually, I'm just discussing it. So I'm sort of talking about materials that look like this, where you've got a kind of a chicken in a breaded, but the breaded has probably got some spices blended in with it as well. And I will discuss the nuance of testing this. As I say, there is a monthly webinar as well, so if you want to see the FoodSense Generation 4 in action, the next one's on the 22nd of May. The link is here. I'll try to remember to put the link underneath the video as well. We do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, so if you're in Philippines, Indonesia, etc., the morning session works well for you. And if you are in Europe and in the USA, for example, the afternoon session would work well for you there. So question number one is about testing breaded chicken. So we've already sort of shown it. Now, if you test essentially the crust here, this is where probably a lot of the spices are concentrated. I can assume that, not assume, I could understand that you maybe marinated this. So in fact, some of the spiciness is in the meat of the chicken as well. But the reason I bring this up is because when you've got a very heterogeneous product here, you've got at least meat and spicy breading. If you sample from the meat, that's going to give you 1 Scoville heat unit, and if you sample from the breaded material, you're going to get another Scoville heat unit. So I do want to say that where you take that sample from in a complex product like this is important. Now, I could understand that actually you could take this product, take essentially chicken breast that was breaded and just blend it all up. That would also work as well. So if you wanted a very kind of average, when I say average, I mean the mean Scoville heat unit of that entire chicken breast that was breaded, I would actually take it, chop it up and grind it up, or blend it up, and then that would be my sample. So if you just take from the surface, that will then have a different Scoville heat unit than if you took from the meat itself. So that's why I've kind of, there's a real nuance to this, because it's quite a heterogeneous product. So I would expect different results depending on where you actually took the sample from. What I would imagine the procedure to be is, I think this product is fairly, I say fairly mild, but in the FoodSense app, it offers you 1 in 10 dilution, 1 in 100 dilution, 1 in 1000 dilution, 1 in 10,000 dilution. I suspect this is fairly mild. So in fact, what I would do is I would do what's called a 1 in 10 dilution. The app will guide you, but I'm sort of approximately thinking that you're going to take 0.5 grams of the product and dilute it in 4.5 mils of the buffer. So your product is essentially solid, and our buffer obviously is liquid, so then this becomes a dilute slurry. So there's liquid with your sort of sample sort of floating and bobbing around inside that solution. And I would then actually vortex it. Now, vortexes can be found on Amazon. I don't want to advertise for Amazon, but they can be found on Amazon for something like $100. They're not expensive. So the vortex will really agitate, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the capsaicin out of your sample and into the liquid phase. So you can understand that the more finely you chop and blend that material, the easier it is for us to extract it, and the more we essentially agitate, then the faster that rate of extraction would actually be. You don't need to do centrifugation, but sometimes, I mean, because essentially what you're going to end up with is a two-phase sample. You'll have 90% of that sample will be liquid, 10% of it will probably be solid. So if you centrifuged it, then you'll just force all the solids down to the bottom and you'll have a nice sort of clear sample to then sample from. So you could do centrifugation. Again, a centrifuge would be less than $100. It doesn't come with a kit, and neither does the Vortex either. I do have the word mayo here, but I am thinking about your breaded chicken. At which point, then you can, if you choose to do the centrifugation, I consider that more optional. But I could see the benefits of it being that you could force all the solids out, and then you're left with a very clear sample. Then you just need a pipette to take 50 microliters of that would be called the supernatant at this point. This is the kind of clear liquid above the solid pellet that's been forced to the bottom of the centrifuge. You take 50 microliters out, and then you can test that on the FoodSense Generation 4. So with that, I'm going to put a thank you slide up here. If you've got any questions concerning Zimmer Peacock and FoodSense Generation 4, don't hesitate to reach out to us. My apologies, this has been a quick one this week, but as I say, many of us are traveling and I've had to record this and upload it from the USA. Okay, thanks very much.